It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
So let's dive in with Joshua's question to kick us off. I'm 22 and married. We plan on buying our first house sometime after the next 4 years. This gives us time to save up a full 20% down payment, but should we? Or does it make sense to do a 3.5 to 10% down payment and do something else with the excess? What is the most powerful situation for my army of dollar bills here?
How old did Joshua say he was?
22.
Recently married. 22 recently married. Joshua, first, I want to put a disclaimer on this because we answer this question a lot. Money is nothing more than a tool that allows you to do the things that you want to do the way you want to do them. And so you have to answer the question for yourself, for you and your new spouse. What are the things that we want to do? Is home ownership a thing? Is being debt-free a thing? Is financial independence and retirement a thing? And the answer to those questions are going to dictate what strategies you ought to employ. Now, here's the way I think that we should answer this question to make it really, really helpful for him. If we're talking strictly from optimization, Brian, for a 22-year-old, what is the way that we optimize buying a first house and then building for the future, given where we are now, in light of interest rates, but also in light of having our dollars work for us?
This thing's acting crazy, but I'll answer what I think is because where I was going with this when Joshua asked the question, and if please forgive me, because like I said, I had some technical snafus where things going all over the place. I think because we get this question a ton. And Joshua, at 22, your money is so valuable. It's super valuable because you have time. Every dollar has the potential to turn into something so incredible. I would encourage you to go to moneyguy.com/resources. Go look at the money multiplier because I always talk about 88 times over. Every dollar has potential to turn into $88. For a 22-year-old, it's not far off from that standpoint. And I know there's a very popular neighbor of ours. It tells everybody just get out of debt. But even for those that are following that strategy, usually, this type of stuff falls into down payments, paying off debt. It's after you've started building some wealth. And I've even heard, and I'll just say his name, Dave has even updated his philosophy on this. As I've forever heard everybody at Ramsey Solutions talk about 20%. I don't know if we get to take credit for it. Because I'm hoping that if we talk to somebody at Ramsey Solutions, they'd be like, yeah, y'all did have some influence on this. Is that I said with the market moving so quick on housing and real estate that we've been telling everybody 3 to 5% for years. And I've heard Dave recently update his guidance on that first house to 5 to 10%. Mm-hmm. So that's the first part of this, Joshua, is that I think that, trying to get to 20% as a 22-year-old, first of all, the housing market might be running from you in a lot of ways. The second thing is that you're going to be missing out on a lot of your armies that could be invested, because this is the component that I think a lot of commentators miss out on, is that your 22-year-old self is still trying to build wealth. You're not trying to keep wealth. You're trying to make sure you have wealth to try to keep at a later point. And that's why when I talk about the timeline of your journey, anybody who's young and you're still young at 45, don't get mad at me because I'm north of this number too. But that whatever is 0 to 45, you are in that component that there's just so much exponential growth opportunity where every dollar that comes into your possession, you ought to look at that as how am I maximizing the growth? Whereas post 45, hopefully now you are at how do I keep my wealth and how do I get into financial independence unencumbered where I'm completely debt free? That's why I do allow people and I encourage them to pay it off. But it's the same thing. I know you're doing house down payment, but it's still the same type of mindset, is that 10%, that 15% that you're trying to build up in down payment could be money that's going into Roth IRAs, could be money that's into long-term wealth building assets that when you get to be 50 years old, you're like, that was the foundation that actually helped me reach millionaire status when I was, 47 years old. And if you didn't get to make that one incremental decision, your house might be paid down faster, but the spread between that portfolio, I know right now in a bear market, it doesn't seem like you'll do it, but that spread when you're making 9 to 10% annualized per year compared to the 5% interest rate you're paying, that's going to stack up over the long term in a very significant way.
The only other thing that I'd add to that is make sure that if you do opt to put less down, 3.5%, 5% down, make sure that doesn't cause your payment to be so large that it blows up past 25% of your income to cover your housing payments. If it takes 20% down to get inside that 25% threshold, then maybe that is something you have to do. If you have latitude there, I agree with Brian, I think those dollars can work a lot harder for you. Go to moneyguy.com/resources. We have a deliverable where you can see at 22 exactly what those dollars could turn into for you by the time you get to retirement.